There's a range of areas, and they're well articulated by the employers in those sectors. I mean, there's clearly the ICT skills gap, and I think the figures at the moment are that approximately 55% of our needs in that space are being answered by graduates from Ireland. So that's a really unsatisfactory situation. But there's clearly a problem in other areas as well, like in languages. And I know, for example, Louise Phelan, head of PayPal, would talk about the challenges they face in getting suitably qualified graduates to deal with their needs in a broad range of languages, European and beyond. Certainly at DCU, we have a strong reputation, justifiable reputation, for the quality of our programs in computing, computer applications degree, enterprise computing and so on. We could literally double the intake in the morning in terms of capacity, and we have had much bigger numbers before. But we would face straight away, we would be dropping the points, and we've done this pilot as a test. We would be immediately hitting those students that don't have sufficient mathematical ability to survive. And that's one of the fundamental problems that we're facing in this. There's also some perception problems. I think the dot-com bubble bursting issue, which caused people to move away from this as a job opportunity, that damaged the kind of numbers for years and years. But that issue is gone, I have to say, and particularly with the very positive comments that Barry O'Leary and the IDA make in terms of the opportunities and the needs, and ICT Ireland, Regina Moore, and all of these people are giving very strong messages. And for the first time this year, we're seeing a significant rise again in the number of applications from students in the CAO for those areas, the computing, the engineering, the broader STEM areas. But there's a long way to go, I think, in terms of us meeting the needs and addressing the significant gap that's there. I think what's happening at PhD level in Ireland is actually a very positive thing. So, I mean, we started off with the SSTI initiative a number of years ago, trying to double the number of PhDs, and I think that proved to be unrealistic, particularly with the funding drops. But more significantly, what's happening now in terms of structured PhDs, where we're combining the kind of deep knowledge one gets from a PhD research with a broader base of rounding of those graduates in terms of providing soft skills and specific skills that are more appropriate for application in industry. I think that's creating a new type of PhD graduate which will be much more suited to actually the needs of industry. We've employed this here at DCU for a number of years now. We've looked at what happened in Denmark, for example, where typically about 7 or 8% of all PhD students do this kind of industry-linked structured PhD. But of all the PhDs employed in Denmark in industry, over 60% have come from this particular model. So I think that those sort of data certainly point to the fact that a kind of a more nuanced PhD, more suited to the needs of industry, will actually be recognised by the employers themselves. Well, DCU is a particular type of university. It's not the traditional university, and it's not the comprehensive university. We don't have philosophy departments, history departments, geography departments. We're very much one focused on the application of useful knowledge. So we have a new branding line, which is DCU, Ireland's University of Enterprise. Now, we make that real by actually listening, or having a kind of listening device to the enterprise sector. So I've just come today from our Enterprise Advisory Board, which is something we use to actually make sure that the advice of the enterprise sector right across commercial, enterprise, social and cultural is fed into the university. And the Enterprise Advisory Board comprises leaders from all the enterprise sectors which we engage, the ICT sector, biotech, business sector. So we have representatives from Intel, KPMG, HP, Fujitsu and so on, that can advise us in terms of the importance of what we do. We ask them 4 questions. We ask them to advise us on a portfolio of degree programs and their relevance, the appropriateness of our research agenda, the attributes of our graduates, and our entrepreneurship and innovation ethos. By listening to that advice, by utilising that advice, it enables us to keep ahead of the curve in terms of maintaining that focus on enterprise needs. In terms of encouraging children, students into STEM subjects, the evidence is it's not enough as yet. There have been many efforts, but it's very difficult. It's a very complex situation. I attended the ITLG event in Cork recently where this was discussed, and one of the issues that came up was the issue of role models. There are not many role models that young people can see in scientific and engineering and ICT areas. In fact, the entertainment industry tends to project an image of the geek, the nerd, that causes maybe a virus to be released and damages society, and it's not a very appealing and positive message. That's something that, you know, we can't control, but we seek to at least get the message out there. But more broadly, the whole issue of outreach and science communication, it's a continuous battle. We've been working on this for many years, but we have to keep doing it. But that's only one factor in terms of increasing the numbers pursuing STEM subjects. It's conveying the excitement of careers, it's addressing the maths issue, and you know, there are many good efforts happening at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see how they roll out. But fundamentally underpinning so many of the areas of high tech, mathematics, analytical skills, problem solving, these are essential. And we're working with government at the moment in terms of trying to roll out more initiatives all the time to both stimulate interest but also enhance ability. And I think in this regard, partnership between academia and enterprise is very important, and there's lots we can do in that, but also using technological advances. So we're about to run a pilot this year in rolling out the Khan Academy model, where it's the flipped classroom, where the student can actually pursue these short video clips around mathematical issues and learn them at home and go through them iteratively, and where the classroom itself becomes much more around the application of skills developed. Now, this will have to be an augmentation of existing activities rather than a replacement, but it'll be very interesting to see, and we will measure this carefully in a controlled experiment, to see the impact of approaches like this. But we have to keep pursuing these sort of range of options to enhance the range of, or to increase the range of students actually taking on STEM subjects. It's crucial to the future of a successful knowledge economy. Well, I think the reforms that are announced and planned for junior cycle are very encouraging indeed, and they implement quite a number of very important issues. First of all, it's getting away from content-based learning to attribute-based learning. So it's identifying what are the actual attributes that will enable our students and ultimately our graduates to flourish in the 21st century. And these are the ones that are well established, like problem solving, critical thinking, analytical thinking, and so on. So it's to get away from the rote learning and regurgitation aspect, but actually to focus on these attributes. That's number one. Secondly, it's introducing new areas that excite young people in terms of a problem-based learning, inquiry-based learning, much more participative, much more active than the traditional transmissive and passive approach of students themselves. I think it's very encouraging that Minister Quinn is passionately behind these initiatives, and I think if successfully piloted at junior cycle level, I believe it will be inevitable before that they will come into the senior cycle, and I think that will benefit society in general in Ireland, but certainly benefit the student learning experience at senior cycle level and make those students more prepared for life at third level. I think teachers are the forgotten heroes of all we're talking about here. I think the teaching role is such a complex and challenging role. So many things are changing so quickly. The environment in which they have to operate, the resources they have, the complexity of the students that are coming through to them, the fact that the students are digital natives and very technologically adept where teachers may not be, the actual dynamism of the outside world puts pressures on actually what needs to be taught and how it must be taught. So I think teachers need huge support, and that's why I think we're working with government and playing our part with enterprise as well to actually develop supports for teachers. Ultimately, I think it means that the education of teachers themselves should happen in a research-intensive environment. And this is one of the things we're working on with colleagues in St Patrick's College Drumcondra, the Mater Dei Institute of Education, Church of Ireland College of Education, coming together to establish a significant institute of education in Ireland, which will mean that teachers will be coming through an environment which is research-rich. They will be at the cutting edge in digital learning, in STEM education, and all the major areas that are important in 21st century learning. But we have to do something at the moment and support teachers as things are, but the longer term solution has to be through, I suppose, more innovative and novel ways of preparing teachers for a very challenging environment. I think the evidence is that we are producing graduates that can compete. I mean, there's so many successful stories of graduates who have done it, who have risen to the top of major global organisations or set up very successful ones. I mean, you can talk about Pierce Lyons of Alltech. That's a multi-billion-dollar biotech company, hugely successful in the States with global reach. He's a graduate, a biotech graduate who has done hugely well. If I talk about one of our own graduates, Lorraine Tuchel, she's now Vice President Global Marketing at Global, based in California, again touted for further greatness. And you can point to OpenNet, Entrepreneurs of the Year in Ernst & Young last year. Again, one of our computer applications graduates came through to head up that organisation as well. So many successful stories of people that have combined their innate ability to engage with society, to engage with others, combine that with technical excellence, disciplinary brilliance, and actually translate it into economic benefit. So the stories keep going, and then of course the examples of young people like our emerging entrepreneurs like the James Wheltons and so on, proving that sometimes even third level education may not always be necessary once you have that innate ability. But certainly our education system, despite all the flaws that we discussed earlier on, is still under difficult circumstances producing people who can compete worldwide.